Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. I'm Ryan Beach, and in this video, we are gonna be talking about 6 tips that can help get you better looking videos. Now, normally I'm talking about practice habits, practice strategies, various tips for trying to help you get more out of your practice and sharing more about my playing with you and the processes I go through. But through all of this content creation with the podcast and with the YouTube videos and the Instagram content, I've picked up a lot of tips and I've gained a lot of knowledge from watching YouTube videos and things like that to help make the content look and feel as professional as possible. And I wanted to pass some of that on to you as well. This pandemic we've been going through for a long time now, it seems like, has hit us all in different ways. One of the positive things I think has come from it is everybody seems to be making more videos of themselves playing, wanting to share what's going on. We've all probably learned a little bit more about what it's like to record ourselves, whether it's for Instagram stuff or maybe it's for juries or other types of lesson related stuff. And I wanted to share this information because I see a lot of videos that they sound great, they are of good quality in terms of the audio, but the video part of it is a little bit lacking. I'm not necessarily saying that you all have to do what I've done and go buy expensive cameras and gear and all that kind of stuff to level up your videos. It's actually quite the opposite. These 6 tips I would like to provide for you are completely free to you. There's no gear needed, and they're very simple and very easy to implement. My hope is through sharing the information in this video, you'll be able to level up the look and professionalism of your videos with very little effort and very little time at all. Let's get into the video. The first tip I have for all of you is to choose a good location for your video. Now, ideally speaking, this would be play in a beautiful hall with beautiful acoustics. Everything is taken care of. You don't really have to do much. It looks good, it sounds good, awesome video, done. Even in non-pandemic times, I know a lot of people don't necessarily have access to beautiful spaces like this, but especially now in this pandemic time, it can be almost impossible to find a space like this. So for those of you who are in that situation, my recommendation might be to choose a room that you're in, but maybe try to point the camera into a corner of the room that's maybe not as cluttered, or there's some artwork, or maybe you can go down the hall. You have an entryway in your house where it's a little bit more open. Maybe it takes slightly more work to get things set up and to figure out where to stand and how to make it sound good. But in my opinion, an aesthetically pleasing visual image of where the location is can go a long way in how good and how professional looking the video is. All right, my second tip for you all is to think about the lighting. I can't tell you how many videos and how many Zoom calls I've seen where there's just a window behind them and that's sucking all of the light. There's no light on the person, and so everything is off balance and it just looks kind of weird. I want to encourage you to think of yourself as the subject, and in photography, the subject needs to be lit. You need to be able to see it. So if you have a window behind you, think about turning around so the window is in front of you, and now you have all of this beautiful natural light coming in on your face. Natural light especially is very good on skin tones, and so if you can get natural light, that is awesome, and I would highly recommend trying to figure that out. If not, in the examples I have that you can see here, I have a lamp next to me and I've turned that on to be my light source, and you can see the lamp is really light and I'm kind of dark, and so it's hard to tell what you're supposed to be looking at in this video. As opposed to this other version of it where I've turned that lamp off and I've turned an overhead light on, and now I'm more evenly lit in the front. Overhead light is a bit tricky because you can sometimes get the raccoon eyes where the shadow is casting over your eyebrows, kind of making your eyes dark. So ideally speaking, if you can get a light source in front of you to light you, and that the most amount of light in the shot is on you, it's gonna give you a really nice professional look. All right, the third tip I have for all of you is to think about the way you are framing your shot. This is another one I see all the time where maybe you see the top part of somebody's head and there's so much negative dead space above it, or this is less likely, but maybe they've cut the top off and you just get so much of their body and so much of them, or maybe it's too zoomed in or too far away. I mean, I know some things, depending on the hall, it's gonna be far away, but we wanna think about how we're framed in the shot to get more of this aesthetically pleasing vibe going on in our videos. One thing that's worth talking about very, very quickly here is the rule of thirds. And I'm gonna demonstrate it just on this very short clip here. You can see that I'm standing in front of this Christmas tree right in the middle of the shot. It's kind of an okay shot, but I'm kind of blocking the Christmas tree. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move over to the right side of the shot. Now I'm standing on the right third of the screen, and now you can see the whole Christmas tree. You can see me. This is a huge thing that happens in photography and video everywhere. You should research the rule of thirds if you want to know more about it, but it can make things in the background be of more interest to you because you can kind of see it, and it's a very common technique for framing things that I would highly recommend you check out if you want to know more about professional framing techniques. The fourth tip in this video that I'm gonna share is to clean up your background. Now, I am incredibly guilty of this at times. Just before I shot this video, I had to clean up this huge mess that was in this room because we just got back from our vacation in Florida, and so I had to clean off, this shelf right here had stuff all over it, and this desk, you can't see it right now, but there was just stuff and trash all over the place. But it's worth the time to clean up the background and make it look professional. If you're shooting in a room and there's a blanket that's strewn about, maybe think about folding that blanket up. If there are books scattered or trash somewhere, just look in the frame where you framed yourself, look in there and see, is there anything in there that I don't actually want to be in the shot? Take the extra second and remove it. It'll go a long way in how good and professional your video looks because everything that's there will be there for a purpose. And that way, it's clean, we know what we're supposed to look at, we're not distracted by a whole bunch of stuff in the background, and we're focused on you and your playing. So the first 4 tips all had to do with before you start shooting. This 5th tip I have for you is while you are shooting, and it is do not look at the camera while you are playing. I'm pretty sure I'm guilty of this in some of my earlier videos, and you see it a lot in a lot of playing videos where maybe you're unsure if the camera is still on, so instead of just stopping and checking and starting again, we just kind of look at the camera out of the side of our eye to see if it's still going. We don't want to do that. What we want to do is just check it, make sure it's going, and then just get the video. We want to treat the camera as if it's an audience member observing us perform, and we wouldn't stare at our audience members. It's kind of bad etiquette to do that. So try to treat the camera like it's an audience member so that you would just be performing for the camera, which is again the audience member, and that way it'll look significantly more real, like you're actually performing for us. The only time that you would look straight at the camera is in this exact moment when you're doing a talking head video. This is less of a problem probably for an iPhone. I have a DSLR camera, and so I have a screen right there. And if I was just staring at this screen talking to you guys about how happy I am for you to be here, it would look kind of weird, right? Because I'm not actually looking at you. Imagine that you're having a conversation with someone and they're just looking right there the entire time. What we want to do is look directly into the camera, speak with some authority, speak with some confidence, and make sure that, again, we're treating this like a conversation, and that now that I'm addressing the audience, I want to be looking them right in the eyes. And finally, the last tip I have is once you are finished with the video, this is especially true if you're shooting from something like an iPhone and is within arm's reach, is to trim your video. I've seen a lot of videos where you see this right before the shot. You see the arm reach and do it, and so you see the arm pull away, and then you see them play their thing, and then you see them tap the thing again. To me, it's just slightly unprofessional to do that, and it takes 5 seconds or 10 seconds, not very long time, to just go into your phone, hit edit, and then scrub over to where you take your first breath. That's where I do it. Where do I take my first breath? That's where the video starts, and then I end it, half a second after I'm done. This makes it so you'll have the content that you want as the thing we are seeing, and not just sort of before and after. You don't see in movies them leave in the part where they're like, take 5, action. You don't see that part in there, you see the part they want you to see. So unless it's some sort of stylistic thing you're trying to go for, which is unlikely, just take the extra 30 seconds to trim down the video and make it nice and clean and direct. Before we end this video, I wanted to share that in this particular video, these 6 tips, what I tried to do was put them in an actual sort of workflow order, so that if you're not sure which one to fix or how to go about doing all of them, because sometimes I can feel overwhelmed when someone says 5 things that will make your life absolutely perfect, and it's like, do I have to do all 5 of them? What if I don't do all 5 of them? Will my life not be perfect? For me, that's not the point of this. What I try to do is say, all right, step 1, check your background. Step 2, check your lighting. Just be aware of where your light's coming from and put the camera in a spot that's going to look good accordingly. Think of your framing, clean up your background in the frame, make sure you don't stare at the camera while you're shooting, and make sure to trim up your video if you need to do that afterwards. Hopefully this workflow can be something that's super easy to apply. Again, no investment needed. It's just a little bit of time. I guess that would be the investment, but I think it's really worth it to help make sure that your videos come out nice and clean, nice and professional, and something you can be really proud of. I did want to mention too that I obviously talked zero about audio, and that's because there are tons of resources out there about audio and how to try to get the best sound through whatever microphones you want to buy and where to place it and how far away. A good friend of mine, Patrick Oliverio, is doing a lot of awesome work in this, and I'm sure there's others. So I'll link some of his information below. There's a blog post he wrote about microphones. We also have a podcast episode. There are resources for that, but I wanted to make a resource for everyone in terms of strictly the video, what the video looks like, so we can try to combine these two and, like I said, get really high level quality, professional looking videos. All right, everybody, that's gonna be all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video or learned something or anything like that, I'd appreciate it if you gave it a like down below. Don't forget to subscribe so you can see more content like this. If you have any questions about anything, go ahead and leave them down below. This is stuff I love talking about. I know I mostly do the trumpet related stuff, but I've learned so much about this that if you have questions about lighting or you have questions about audio or anything in the production side of things, I'd be happy to help if I can. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Always remember, stay strong, be kind to yourself, never stop growing, and we'll see you in the next video.